So this is the second roll. We got one roll in already. So this is the heavier one of the two. We're going to put those wheels underneath, about 3 or 4 feet in from each end. In other words, right about here. Strap it to it with those tie-down straps, and then we're going to reel it into the back. So this is the hard bit, getting this thing in. Quite a few £100 here, I think, or somewhere 200 to 300. But once we get on the bricks, it goes nicely. Put these boards down just to smooth the ride a bit. Right, there's the dollies we use to wheel this stuff in. It's one of them. It's the second roll. And there's the third roll. And these two, they weren't wrapped as tightly as that first one. But it'll work. Grass carpet out this far. Now we're going to try and move it down that way without digging holes through the compressed granite. So we'll be moving the wood around a bit. Right, so we got the roll of grass moved up to here. And now I've just realised I've got to bring the grass all the way up to this end, because that's how I want it to unroll. Had a look at the grain, and that blue bit over there is on the correct side. But we just need to bring it up this way, so we're turning it at the moment. And I was wondering if this is how they move the stones at Stonehenge from Wales. Yeah, just moving stuff, moving logs in front of each other. That's what we're doing.
Unrolling it now. First piece. Super green.
Okay, so we got the first part, first carpet in, pretty good measuring, because we're covering the curb at this end, and we've got the curb covered at that end. We're just touching the curb up over by that light. Got this bit folded back. There's a few ripples in it. We're going to let it rest a few days, or a day at least, maybe a few days, and see if these ripples just sag out, or we do a little bit more pulling. Okay, we've got the second roll out. This one's going to be a little trickier because of the architectural features that are there. Obviously that end of the roll has got to come all the way down to this corner. And it's got to match up with this joint. So we'll have to make a few adjustments as we're unrolling it and get that thing pulled up as far as we can get it. Alright. Got the second bit mostly rolled out. It is going to fit. We measured it. That's what the tape measure's doing over there. So this bit that's rolled over, obviously we're going to have to do a preliminary cut on that. So I'm reluctant to do it at the moment. I want to wait till the end. Then we've got the final roll to go in here. We're going to have to put that somewhere and fold it. Because it's 15 feet wide, and obviously that isn't. It's a lot shorter. So that last piece was just the right length, just. Ready for the next step.
Cutting the curve now.
Got to estimate them. They could cut to make from the back.
Adjusting for the curve.
Right, we've got the first part of the curve cut and put in. It's kind of difficult judging it, it's slow progress. We're going to nail in this end, and we're going to see if we can get rid of some of these creases. Nail it in down here, leaving a bit over there for taping, and we can see there's a crease here. See if we can pull that out, nail a bit further, see if we can pull the other ones out. First offcuts, and we have the first bit cut to shape. Just got a few wrinkles in it that I'm going to try and get rid of. Right, because of all the extra fabric we have here, we're doing a rough cut, so I'm well over the other side of the curbing, just so we can get it roughly in position, so we can match up the seam that's going to go right down there. So rough cut, precision cut, and that's a police helicopter going overhead. They're watching what I'm up to. Here he is. Hi! Nails in around the outside. Okay, so we have chunk number 1 in, nailed, ready to seam. Part number 2 is in, ready, nailed, and ready to seam. And we've got to cut part number 3, but we're going to call it a day. Do that tomorrow. Okay, we are prepped for seaming. We've got the tape stretched out, got the edges rolled back. We put a nail in at each end, right where the two sides join. So what we've got to do is peel it back, bring the edges together on the sticky stuff. We should be good. And there's the longer seam. Yeah, about 23 feet, that one. Right, seams are in. A bit obvious right now, but hopefully when we're finished with the next part of the job, which involves this drop spreader, sand pile, a bit of shoveling, and a lot of brooming. We'll brush that sand in, and the grass will all stand up and the seams will disappear. Okay, so we're putting the sand in via the drop spreader. And put the yellow line here as a guide, so we don't get lost as we're going across and back multiple times, getting the sand in. So one of the things we noticed with the grass was, and taking the sand out, was all the grass came out with it, these grass flakes, and it's very hard. It's throughout the whole sand pile. It's got that grass in it. But what we noticed is the action of the little thing turning around in there sorts it all out and drops the sand, holds onto the grass flakes. We can get rid of them later. So we're dropping the last little bits here. And then inside you can see how the old grass blades are just coming up on their own. Okay, just a final shot. We've got all the sand that we took out back in. It may or may not be enough. It's enough for us. It took us 2 days to get it back in via the drop spreader. Seams are a little bit visible. One of the things we found about this one is the seam right here. It needed a gap instead of being butted together. The hump you can see back there is caused by it butted together. It doesn't really work for this long grass. You're better off with a gap.